Welcome everyone, ADV here. I was scheduled for an interview today and I don't know what happened, but the person was a no-show and now you get me. So we'll see if any of the algorithms are actually going to share my last moment live post. And if you're not on my Telegram channel, I always will post when I'm going to go live there. And you can go to Healthy Dose of Truth or my name, Yum Naturals. And you should be able to find both my main page and my group there. So, there's a lot of information in there and a lot of connections. So hopefully we see you there. And I don't know, there's a lot to talk about, but I haven't really, I don't know. I was like, nothing jumped out at me other than I know I want to address some etiquette and also just some basic spiritual hygiene practices. And then what I'll do is, if you have any specific health concerns or questions, then I'll see what I can do there. And so I've been doing a lot of writing. Actually, my Substack articles, I have a few of them now. And I just published one today on geoengineering because I don't know if you remember me mentioning about talking with a couple of lawyers about geoengineering, how to stop it, what lawsuits have been successful or not, or what's been going on in that whole realm. And because personally, I'm very bothered by the spraying. I need it to stop somehow. We have to get this sorted out because it's ridiculous. And if you actually go to that Substack article, which is Amanda D. Vollmer is Substack with my name. Anyway, there's a troll in there right away. The people that can't see, it's just, you just want to shake them. You can't see them spraying in X's in grid patterns and satanic symbology and like forever they've been doing that. You think that's normal, you think that's good. You don't see progression. You don't see where they come and it's a beautiful blue sky and they spray and then it gets milky and hazy and full of cloud, and then usually the next day there's rain or they're clearing something for an event and you don't look. Okay, I mean, it's kind of frustrating. And but what I did in the article is, I talk about the phone calls I've had with the lawyers and what Christine Massey has pulled for an FOI on cloud seeding in Canada, which is, as I call it, a vanilla excuse or a vanilla, public viewing or consumption response, which is, oh yes, we know we've been cloud seeding, but it's only for good things. It's just calcium chloride. Just don't worry. And the silver we're spraying with the iodine, that's okay. No big deal. No big deal to make clouds. No big deal. We have this stopping hail program. We're really on that, and reducing thunderstorms. And okay, well, that's definitely manipulating our weather. Okay, thanks for letting us know that you've been doing it for ages. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. They're not going to go into details about where's the aluminum and the barium level that's been rising. Where's that coming from? Or they're not going to talk about NextRad. They're not going to talk about HARP. They're not going to mention the heating stations and atmospheric or ionospheric heating and agitation, or cloud steering or storm steering, or all the frequencies that they're pouring out, creating that, wave-like pattern in the sky. And yeah, I could have written a book in that from the information just in that article. So if you go to that, really go through the hyperlinks that will go into further detail of it, because really I think they're getting away with it because there's only a few of us that really care or notice or talk about it or whatever. And it's not a conspiracy at all. People who say that obviously watch television and are under the hypnotic, manipulation. So it's kind of damning. You can say, well, here's the FOI. You can read it. And of course, you know that when people are under hypnosis, that they will make up an excuse to try to make sure they fit that information into their illusions. That's usually the first approach. They'll excuse it, or they'll say it's a mistake, or they'll come up with some fancy, weird, warped idea of how it's still not that, like that troll that commented on the Substack. Oh, but it's still contrails. It's like, are you really? Wow. Okay. Yeah. You can't read, or you didn't. I find it an interesting trait to see people make very opinionated comments on topics in which they are completely ignorant. I find it very fascinating human experience that people will do this a lot, that their egos will just make shit up. So what? Because you can't say I don't know, or you can't say, well, that's interesting, but I'm not educated in that. That's the response. The response is, yeah, I'll admit I'm totally ignorant on this topic. I don't know anything about it. I can't really speak to it because of the fact that I don't know anything about that topic. But they don't. They come with an opinion. They already have a pre-programmed set of things they're going to say. And it's annoying, and it needs to stop. And people need to be shown that they're doing that. It's like, well, how educated are you on the topic? Can you even form an opinion when you have a one-sided or lopsided view of it? Or you're a TV watcher. If you're a TV watcher, basically you should just unplug the thing, throw it out, and go and like cleanse yourself, cleanse your mind, fix yourself, and then go start educating yourself on the topics, because you have no opinion. You've been manufactured into a thought form, into an opinion. But most of the arguments and things going on the internet are opinionated ignoramus people who are just spewing caca and getting us nowhere, because they think they are right because they don't know about the topic. I find that fascinating, really, to do so. And it is a phenomenon, because I've caught myself doing things like that, where I'll come in and say, well, it's a reactionary thing, right? Well, I don't like what that thing says, so I'm going to come in and say, well, I don't like the thing because I'm getting an emotional response from the thing. But it's not an educated opinion. It's just an emotional response opinion, which really has no volition or validity. And so if you do that, you got to catch yourself. Go, oh, I'm doing the thing, where I think I know something about a topic, but I really don't. Maybe before I emotionally react, I'll just stop. And we're going to talk about spiritual hygiene a little bit on that. And that's one of them. Whoa, my ego wants to pounce. I'm going to pull back and stop myself and take a breath or 5 and decide if this is something I do want to learn about, if it's important to me, if it's a passionate thing that I need to now solve or understand, or I'm just going to put it on my list, my to-do list of things that I'm ignorant in and I have to learn later. That's really what we need to be doing, rather than going, well, I don't like that because it's blue. Oh, okay, well, that's nice, but has no bearing on what the actual, chunky base of the topic is. And, I really, really think that's holding us back, that lack of acknowledgement of the emotional triggers, and that they're reactionary rather than contemplative, is certainly holding us back as for growth, and also to find out about truth, and also to see what's actually going on here. And it's as obvious as I've been on this earth 48 years now, and it's as obvious as can be, the agendas. I mean, basically, without them coming and just like overtly telling people exactly what they are doing, it's just like one notch down from that. And people still are ignorant and making comments without understanding, and calling it conspiracies and this sort of stuff. I don't know. I mean, some of the comments on my Instagram, when I posted that I had just released this Substack article on geoengineering, they were like, you're right, this is facts and evidence, But the problem is you present facts and evidence to the brainwashed, and that doesn't work. They can't brain, they can't get the information and process it and then correct. And it's true. Although I have heard from friends of mine who were quite persistent with, someone under a hypnotic spell specifically about chemtrails and what's going on, and it did crack through in that case. Obviously, there are the correct words or approaches for individuals that will snap them out of it, and it's your batting average is probably pretty crappy. And it's frustrating, but maybe you're going to get 2 out of 10 tries, and they're going to think about it, or it's going to work for them, or it's going to snap something away from their the spirals in the eyes. It's going to they're going to see. So don't give up is what my point is, because it can still get through. I think the main thing is to not come at it emotionally, which is very difficult, especially when you're passionate about it. It's frustrating, and we have to acknowledge the fact that we get angry. This is probably the most anger I've ever felt in my life about what's happening, and we all have to manage this energy and not let it get us to self-destructive behaviors or destructive anger where we're hurting other people with it, right? But it's a very frustrating time. There's a lot of weirdness about, and games being played, and also many truths at once coming to the surface. There's all sorts of bubbles of awakening happening, and I find that it can be overwhelming because of there can be new topics for all of us. I just stumbled on a new topic recently about serial killers, that the majority of what they're saying are serial killer stories never happened. They were all fabricated, and that one triggered me too a little bit. But I had to face that. I had to go, oh, that can be a Hollywood production, and maybe they've MK Ultra'd some of their people to be the players, but it's all still acting. Basically, everything they do is acting. Everything they do is Hollywood. The whole thing, everything, from science to medicine to mysteries, all of these topics, it's all a bunch of crap. And so you get, okay, here's crap. Okay, integrated that. Geez, wow. I can't believe they will go to these lengths and that sort of thing. And then you go and find another one, and they just, and everything, and then everything is a lie. So that one was kind of I haven't gone in a deep dive on it or anything, but I find it fascinating. So if I get one like that, I'll drop it and I'll say, what do you think? Maybe this is also bullshit. We have to question literally everything that they've told us is true, like the official stories of any topic. And of course, what they do is, if there's like a big blockbuster movie or any type of sort of documentary style film, that they're doing revisionist history when they're creating these, because it's once time elapses and then people go back to the information, they actually watch movies and think they're real or true, ones that are based on true stories, that kind of crap. That's probably some of the most dangerous propaganda out there, because you really suspend your belief to go into some sort of entertainment, which is just entrainment. And they're reenacting some sort of historical event or historical person. And they're manufacturing a bunch of lies about it, because they're all historical revisionists. They continually, it's like they're addicted to lying. That's their MO. That's what they do. And now like the other one, someone said here, real nuclear weapons don't exist. I remember when I stumbled on that one, I think it was soon after the dinosaur hoax. I had just gone into that whole thing, and then that opened up to giants existed, and actually I figured out why we were giant, and it's because they're the light coming from the sun, the frequencies, there's somehow either the sun itself is altered, or whatever is happening with the firmament is altering the way the sun is coming through. And there's like two main UV spectrum light that isn't coming anymore. And so we're shrinking, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. That's just one theory, of course, but that was one of the little pieces that I got when I was researching Tartaria and giants, and everything was bigger. Why was everything bigger? And why are we smaller now? And are we going to keep shrinking? Are we going to be little mini people at some point? I mean, this is all speculation, but it seems that that's the trend, right? And you know, so yeah, it was after the dinosaur hoax, and then is when I got the nuclear weapons hoax. And obviously they're able to they have big bombs of some sort, but they're not what they claim them to be, this chain reaction story. Oh, and it's just one thing after another. Just when you think you've gotten there, you're like, well, what else is going to be bullshit here? So, so one thing before I go through some comments and if there's any questions, is a couple of things. One, I want to delicately address the way in which we ask for, you know, people for free advice, especially when it comes to the healer realm, if you want to call it that, for lack of better terminology. People really pick on the words too. You can't use this word and that word. Well, I can use whatever word I want. To me, a healer is someone who is trained in the healing arts and is knowledgeable enough to speak on the topic and has helped a lot of people, you know, regain their health. And I understand that we are losing ever quicker the respect for the medical establishment, as we know. We see that that's one of the biggest hoaxes out there, is the conventional medical system. And one of the last videos I did was on adenoids and tonsil removal and how that causes a lot of later disease, and that you should never cut those things out. So if you want to check that out, I would go to my Instagram page, or it should be uploaded on yummy.doctor at some point. You know, but now it's like, oh, now what do I do when, right? Well, I can't go into the conventional medical cartel system. It's crashing and burning. It was already a damaging system. But now what do I do, right? Oh, well, let's go to this practitioner and ask. I mean, if you looked at the emails and the messages I get, it's constantly, hey, Amanda, I have this problem. I'm going to tell you all about it. Help me. And I get it. I understand the situation. When you're not well and you're desperate, or you need help and you're frustrated, or you don't know what to do, you're lost in it. It seems like the easiest way would be to just go in and say, hey, you help me, you know, like that. And I do. I will. I do it a lot. But the problem is this: a couple of things. One is that for the practitioner, it's exhausting. It does drain you, and it does take a lot of your time away. I'm trying to build courses. I'm trying to build protocols. I'm in writing mode and research mode. And if I were to add up all the time it takes for offering free advice to people, it's the better part of my day. And there's at some point where you have to say, I can't, or I have to stop, or there's self-respect and self-care that has to happen. And I find that some people will say, oh, you know, I'll hire you, or whatever. And I say, well, unfortunately, you know, I'm not taking clients right now. I'm not doing that model, because that model actually did burn me out, the one client at a time model, because a lot of the cases I was taking were really large ones that, you know, like cancers, or, you know, severe levels of disease, essentially, you know, recovering from strokes and recovering from heart attacks, or recovering from something major. And it does take a lot of your time and energy, of course, because you're focused on that person and you're really trying to do research on their behalf. But, you know, this is why I pivoted as well, was to work on the education factor, because when you whittle it down, it actually becomes simplified. Truth is always simple when you get there. And when you have an issue, you have to know there's a billion resources out there for you. And the lazy way is to go lop it on a healer or a practitioner and hope that they answer you, and or have an expectation that because they are in the helper professions, that they must help you for free. That sometimes grinds my gears a little. I have to admit, I sometimes feel a little bit taken advantage of when that happens, because what I don't see coming usually is the offer of, I will compensate you, or I don't expect you to answer me for free, or could you just point me in a general direction of resources because you've studied this and it's easier and quicker because it's in you already. And I just need, because there's so much information out there, I need like a spot in which to land to blossom from in my research and knowledge and my gathering of what to do in this situation. And that's fine. And this is why I'm doing this. And this is why I've done Yummy Doctor. And this is why I built the businesses I've built, is to help you have the resources and the knowledge and be able to feel confident to do it and be your own doctor. That's the goal. That's the underlying goal. But when that keeps happening, it's really also difficult in the written language to say it in a way that doesn't offend someone. Not that I care about offending people, as you know, but I mean, what I'm saying is to get my message across clearly, that I don't mean to diminish or to brush off their situation, but they also have to understand that they're not in my world either. I'm not in their world, and they're not in my world. And they don't know that I had a long day. They don't know that what I did, and they don't know that that's just one more that I can't answer now because I'm too tired or I'm just done. And a lot of people just not even get responses, and I don't want them to go, oh, well, that's rude, or she's a this, or like, I don't want them to think that that's what's happening. That's not what's happening. But the fact that there's an energy exchange here, and someone is not offering an equal amount or some sort of balancing to that is where the etiquette part comes in, where we have to, again, like I was saying earlier, stop ourselves when we think when we're going into something reactionary, when our ego comes up and wants to ping at something, or an emotion is coming through. This is the same thing. You just stop yourself. It's like, whoa, so here I am I'm putting an expectation on basically a stranger and expecting them to give me direction and advice with no offer from my end at all. Absolutely nothing given back. That's just, that's something we need to train ourselves out of. It does lead back to poverty consciousness, which I'm going to speak on. I use this analogy sometimes. If your toilet was broken, okay, are you going to call up a plumber and say, hey, I know you're having dinner with your family right now, but my toilet's broken. Can you tell me how to fix it? Or can you just come on over here and fix it? Or can you give me the advice on how to, fix my toilet? And they're going to hang up on you or laugh at you because you're going to pay them. That's just how it is. You don't go walk into a dentist's office expecting they're just going to give you free advice on how to fix your dental problem, right? I mean, it's this sort of thing. It's like we've put some strange expectations onto people in the healing and spiritual realms that somehow it's a bad form to have abundance if you're in those areas of expertise, which is ridiculous. It's the opposite. I mean, it's if you're on death's door and you need help, that's a high value, you would think. Your life is probably, I would say, the highest, pretty much up there, right? So to come at it like that, you have to question, are you really valuing your life or not? I mean, because if you were, you would understand the value that you would be getting from the exchange, right? And I've seen a lot, because of the whole hoax that's been going on and all the people eating the cookies and poisoning themselves. There's more of it. There are more damaged people, right? And that means there are more requests of these people going out to all kinds of different practitioners. And I have seen some of them address this in even some posts, just saying, here's why I don't give free advice, or here's why I don't give advice at all. And it actually wrecks the fact that this happens wrecks it for everybody, because then you have practitioners that just tighten it up and they'll give nothing for free. Nothing comes out of them unless there's an exchange. And really, if you think about it, that's a good boundary. That's a healthy boundary, right? But then there's charity and volunteering and, your spiritual beliefs on, karma, or all of these things at play, right? Of why you just give of yourself freely all the time. And then the self-worth of where you're at, you always have to keep reflecting on it. And it goes both ways. So anyway, I just wanted to address that quickly, because then this is where it leads into poverty consciousness, because I hear a lot of stuff where people will say, oh, well, she's charging whatever, this amount a month for a membership or a course or whatever. And it goes back to the same idea that, someone who's giving you a value product is not somehow allowed to earn from doing that work. Like, that work is undervalued for some reason, as opposed to other kinds of work that people get paid for. and it's, I don't know how that exactly happened, because it's not just Canada with our quote unquote free healthcare. It's across the board. So somehow we've gotten it implanted in our minds that that's an expectation of people who are givers to just, hand it over. And I also have to take self-responsibility that it's partly my fault, because I've done that. I do that because I care and I want to help. And there's other rewards for me. Obviously, the reward is that I know that baby is going to live, or that person's going to have a good life now, or, that we saved them from the medical cartel, or we, prevented an organ from being cut out, or, all of these wins. And the wins are wonderful. Trust me, like they're the fuel that remind you to just keep going, and that you're doing service for the creator. It's not about you, and this sort of stuff. And keeps you humble. And that's never going to change, at least for me, because that's where my philosophy comes into. But at the same time, now I've created this, Amanda will do it, Mikey likes it, he'll eat it, Amanda will do it because she does it, that kind of thing. And the avalanche comes, and you're like, oh God, now what do I do? And that's why I also, pivoted to making courses that are going to have, Zoom calls, group Zoom calls together with similar conditions, these sorts of things, that I'm altering the model in which I'm using to communicate and to assist, because if I'm not able to, because I'm physically burnt out, nobody gets anything. That's not really what we want. And that goes for anything. If you think about any profession, you have to, understand that we've been raised in a slave society of workers. We're told to work. We're told we have to work to live our lives. We have to make the monai, the currency, to pay for the things, which is also a ridiculous concept. The whole concept, if you step back, is actually ridiculous. We shouldn't have to pay to live in this realm anyway. But we were raised inside the structure that this is how you get your stuff. This is how you survive. This is how you eat. And so, of course, that's part of it. And one of the things that I learned, long ago, was that without faith in that there's something good here, that there's something greater, that there's something important that you're doing, that there's a journey here for you, for your soul, without that steering, you're lost. You become lost. People will seek religion and other sorts of ways to find that for them, to what the value, their extra value of living is. But what happens is with, the victimhood mentality that goes along with the victimhood mentality that is also really propped up in our society, is the poverty consciousness aspect, where, we're told all kinds of things like money's dirty and bad and rich people are evil. So ergo, they're rich, they have a lot of money, therefore it's evil. And I just don't think that way. I mean, I know they're evil, but it's not because they have money they're evil. It's because they're careless and greedy in the way they maybe got to that, or whatever they did was ruthless, but also the fact that why would anyone need billions and billions of dollars, and they're not assisting. Like if I had billions of dollars, the programs and the things that I would be doing to help as many as possible would all go to that, right? But these individuals don't think like that. They have all kind. We're not even going to talk. Screw them. We're not even going to talk about them. But that's what I'm saying is people see that as evil. And that's put through some religions as well, and some other beliefs and philosophies. And we know that that's part of built into the culture. And it comes from the poverty of your soul, really, and your worth and self-worth. And we've had all kinds of historical, generational traumas that have diminished our worth and damaged our inner child and damaged the way that we see this world. So, of course, we're going to project the experiences so that we can integrate them and really finish the lessons that they're meant to teach us. And the lessons that I've learned through all of the belief systems that I had to traverse was that we are all worthy and we all have inherent worth. And it's not even about doing. We are worthy just by being, just by the fact that we exist. And that everyone can attract abundance or become abundant or live in the abundance. And abundance looks different for different people, of course. So for me, one thing I did is I made sure that the faith was there, that no matter what, when I felt called to do something, there's no question I'm doing that. And because I know that feeling in my body when I'm called to do something, and I'm here for service, so I will do the service. And when I do that, open, meaning with my heart open, but not with my eyes closed, everything has to be looking around. The abundance starts to come that way naturally. After a few of those experiences, I started to see that the rewards are there. There's always rewards because it's systematically designed for us to get feedback. And the feedback will be negative if it's something that's not the way it's supposed to be for us, and positive when it's okay, when we're getting our check marks. It's like, yes, this is what's supposed to be happening in my life. This is how I'm meant to behave, and this is what I'm meant to do. And when you pay attention to those patterns, you start to walk that road over and over rather than the road of poor me or bad things happen to me, all the stories that we tell ourselves. And the beliefs that we have about ourselves. And that's why I always encourage people to do some sort of work around abundance and money and their beliefs, and unearth the beliefs and really get to the root of them, where they come from. Was it a parent? Was it a grandparent, that believed that money was bad or abundance was bad or having things was a certain way? Like, where are your hangups around abundance, and just digging those out. And I did that a long time ago. I did a couple of different kind of book program things that, help me see how I think about money, money being dirty or money being about greed or these sorts of things. And it really changed a lot for me. Because now when I look into the world, I mean, it's all just, frequency. These are all just vibrating things, and I'm using them as tools, and I'm not hoarding. There's not an energy of lack, because if you are in lack, you do this, you hold, right? You hold on. You see hoarders, right? I've been to a few hoarder houses before, and that there's mental illness there because they are afraid. They have a lot of fear, and they have had maybe a lot of losses, and they're needing to fill something that's empty inside of them. So they're, you see people who have like shop for therapy, whatever that is, I'm going to shop to feel good kind of thing. Well, that's filling an empty hole with stuff. That's not coming from a place of natural abundance. That's coming from a place of lack. And when you fill that inside of yourself with love and with the knowledge of your faith, of the faith that this is a benign place that's meant to teach you, and that you're just listening for lessons, then it shifts, because it's not about, oh, I got to consume, I got to fill. You know that the cup inside of you will always be endlessly filled, to the point where it's overflowing, where then you can provide for others, and you can gift, and you can, be that generous spirit, right? And it's mentality. It's the way in which you think. And that changed a lot. I do not concern myself with those things in the way in which you think. Like, I know that I'm taken care of, and I know that the abundance is there, and I know that I was guided to create some things of value for the world that will provide for me and my family. And I know that that is so, and there's no question of that. And so I'm not like always going into fear states of, and, and I had to go through, of course, the situation of losing everything in order to really understand that. And a lot of people will or do lose their every thing in their lives, to see that they're always taken care of no matter what. And I had to go through that process myself to understand it. And so I would just say, if you're struggling, a lot of people are struggling right now with money, because the whole point of what the WEF is doing by taking over our governments is to which is already bankrupt. The corporations of all of the countries, which are not countries, they're corporations, all of them are bankrupt. They've been bankrupted since 1933, and they've been operating in bankruptcy under the corporate structure. And they're now being instructed to basically sell off their assets, which is us, and to evacuate because they're out of there. They really are tearing it down, because there's a new structure coming in, and they have to destabilize or rip down the infrastructure in order to do that. This is why they're creating all the chaos. This is why they're increasing inflation on purpose. This is all of the reason, rationale why you're seeing what you're seeing right now, because they already have their new order. Actually, that's a really good band. I shouldn't say that. New World Order thing that they're pushing, that they've been pushing forever. With they're really, I don't know what they are, but they're really fucked up. It's really, I don't get it. I don't know why they hate us so much and stuff, but they're really warped things. And so now we know there's a lot of people who are getting the rug pulled out from under them, right? And they're going to be in literal poverty if they're not already. And that's going to put them into survival mode, into base chakra. I need to get the basics of life taken care of mode, which means you don't have really higher learning in that situation. You're not doing research on other topics. You're not calm and centered and thinking about your path and what you're here to do and your purpose and your goals and all of that kind of stuff. You're frantically trying to put out fires all the time, and they get you in that froth. And if you're in that froth, the best thing to do is to write everything down on what is happening in your life and the energies, which are your emotions that are happening, and start to get clear about how can you shift the energy inside of you, essentially, to not be in that reaction, frenetic energy. That, do you have faith or not? It's yes or a no. Do you have faith that you're being taken care of, that you're going to be guided, and that you're going to land well? Or are you going to spin out of control, go down the addictions train, start to do things that are going to compromise your morality, give you complexes of guilt and shame and other emotions that are heavy, that can spiral you further down that, self-destruction, destructive path, right? And so you have to catch yourself in these situations. And the sooner you can get out of the tailspin and completely surrender to the fact that this is the here and now, and this is where things are. And yes, if you could imagine in a moment it to be different, you would want it different. But the problem is we keep focusing on the things that are happening that are wrong, right? Over and over and over, instead of pulling out and trying to see what's good about the situation, where the opportunities are being presented to you, because there's always going to be opportunities presented. It's going to be hard ass work. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for the lazy. You're going to work. It's whatever's going to be offered to you, you're going to have to face it, which means facing the fear of it, facing an uncomfortable emotion, facing whatever the lesson in it, that you have to pass those stages or it's just not going to happen. Right. And it might be something really, really outrageous. Like you have to just pack a bag and out you go and see where the road takes you. It could be that. I mean, if that's really what it feels like inside, or my friend invited me to, a different country, and everything here is not right. And I know that my soul is being called there. But there's all this, but I can't, but obligations, or whatever the thing is, whatever it is that might be pulling you into the spiral, that might be the leap, the brave leap that you have to take to get out of that situation. There could be something to do with your astrology. I mean, people don't study their own astrology. It's a science, This is written literally in the stars. These are our sky clocks. This is energy that comes at you all the time. At least have some aspect knowledge of the astrology of yourself and what you might be going through, or at least have a basic understanding of your numerology. I mean, numerology is probably one of the easiest things to study about yourself, to see what energies you're working with currently so that you can navigate it better. For example, I'm in a 1 year. Last year was in a 9 year. And I can go back in my life, 9, 8, all the numbers, and I know I can see exactly where those themes have come up in my life and what they mean and how I address them. And it's evident if you pay attention, right? And my 1 year right now is a whole new, I have a fresh start. There's a whole, where I was in previous years was working on the businesses and creating the products and R&D on the products and the marketing and whatever, and hiring staff and training staff and all the things that are involved in business. And what could I get to the writing? No. Could I get to the courses? No. Could I do the things I'm doing right now as far as my family? No. Homeschool my daughter and all of those factions? Not really. Not the way I wanted to. And now it's pivoted for me. It's a new energy that I'm working with, right? So the numerology is really, really basics. You're taking your date of birth and you're adding the year to it, and you're adding it up till you get a single single digit, right down from 1 to 9. And you can go look that up if you want a little bit of introspection. I remember when I do my course on the books that I like, because I'm going to actually do a course on all my books throughout the years of what I've collected, what the best books I've ever had are, why I have them, and all that kind of thing. It's one of my course ideas. I think it's a book called Who Are You? And it's pretty simple exercises. You don't have to do them all or anything. And really, it's just a self-reflection tool to say, am I like that? Do I behave like this? Is that a personality aspect that I express often? Is that a way that I might be perceived by others? Is that a way that I think about myself? And if you are stuck in a poverty cycle, then you need to do that work because knowing thyself is the way through it, and owning it, of course, owning the mistakes or owning what happened and trying to make amends for any of those things, of course. But for my journey, I opened my first astrology book, I think, when I was 10. So I was interested in those discussions of what is this place and why are we the way we are? And in fact, I was really interested in naturopathic college. I was even considering doing my thesis paper on the chakra system related to astrology and how we different sun signs will have different organ systems that are more vulnerable. So, for example, Aries is head and brain, the mind. Leo, that I'm Leo, heart, circulatory system. Where things go a little more awry, or where your vulnerable spots are, where the things could go, where you have to pay attention or give it more nurturing. because I found that so fascinating. I mean, again, this is a pattern. And every time I would have a client, I would ask, I wanted to know their astrology, because as soon as I knew their astrology, I knew I could almost tell you what they were, how they were going to say it. Or for example, someone would come sit in my chair and they'd start saying, well, at 10:52 p.m., I had this weird pulse in my arm. And then at 11:26, I had a twinge. And then I couldn't sleep from this time to that time. And they were very specific with details. And I would go, oh, you must be a Virgo, you know? They'd be like, how did you know that? It's like, well, the way you're telling your story is through your ego, and your ego is defined by the moment in which you've come out of your mother's waters into the air, and that imprint that's come upon you. And that starts to shape your personality and shapes it through the rest of your life. And it's become you. It's become a part of you. It's not all of you or anything. It's just aspects of the ego shaping. And there, you know, I'd always try to guess, because I found that really, really interesting. It gets more complex than that. But anyway, so yeah, that's one of the arts I've been very involved with for the majority of my life, to the point where I don't even really mention it a lot, because I don't really think twice about it, because it's so part of my nature to know this, or to understand this, or to help myself, because there's many filters that have to happen when you're trying to study someone and understand them, and understand why their health is the way they are. And that's one of the helpful filters. That's why I really was thinking about writing a thesis paper, you know, about that. So let me I'll look through some questions now. If you do have something specific, I'm not going to stay on too long, because my daughter we got 15 minutes before I have to get her butt ready for Betty Bye. But, you know, I really just want us to understand that everything that's happening is pulling on our energy, and is pulling on our focus. And there's a lot of distraction energy. There's a lot of information overload, and it can make us our nervous system's really frenetic, and our adrenal glands really overtaxed. And the only real focus, I would say, of these times, one of the main focuses, is really becoming clear with yourself as much as you can. And if you haven't done that preliminary work on self-reflection, then that's top of your list. Because when you do that, you shift a vibration inside yourself. You shift the waters. The waters are the information. The waters hold the memory. The waters hold the frequency. The waters have all the knowledge of everything that ever happened in this realm. It's our memory. Water is memory. Water is the memory of everything. And you can tap into that memory, for one. And you can also ask the water, or program the water the way you want as well. And I've been doing a very simple water method, I guess, where first of all, I structure all my water now, and I have a couple of different ways that I do this. And yes, we'll get to the water structuring topic soon. You should see the PowerPoint presentations I've amassed already that I haven't even gotten to present. When I'm going to drink water, I will say a word. The word that I speak, the vibration of the word, will come onto my saliva in my mouth, in the rest of my body too. But my goal is to say something to the waters of my mouth. So when I drink, I am also asking this water to talk to that water and to send that through my body. So I will say, some people will speak to the water or write words on the water. That's also a method that works. I don't always have time to change the words on the water and the whole thing. I do have some different crystal waters that I use as well. And it's funny, because one of my favorite books that I will talk about at some point is a gem elixir book, where you add gems into water, and the gem changes the structure of the water, and then you're ingesting the medicine from that. It's on the homeopathic understanding, but it isn't potentizing. It's simply exposing. So we'll say love, or we'll say I am well, or Now, here's the other thing. There's all different kinds of languages and there's all different types of vibration. And some words have dual meaning, and we have to be careful with those words as well. Like weak being I'm weak, like I feel weak, or the work week, right? They sound exactly the same, but they have two different meanings, right? So then you start to really think nuanced about how you're speaking and what you're saying. And then if your waters are listening and reflecting the things you say and perhaps the things you think, which we know that from Beta Austin's work, even what you think changes the water. The water listens and responds and is actually conscious and actually has its own language called hydroglyphs. Well, if you realize that, then that means we have to be a little more careful the way in which we speak and think and act, especially when it comes to our health and our expressions. And so I love you. Let's just do I love you, you know. Now you swallow I love you into your body. And it's a very, very simple cure. It's a very, very simple way to add value back into yourself, right? By being aware of the fact that this substance is conscious and we have influence over that consciousness. And that's power. That's power you didn't know you had until right now, probably, right? And power you can use for good things. And you know, when I shower, for example, when I'm showering, I think all kinds of cleansing thoughts about myself, like healing thoughts. And also when I'm about to turn the water off, I thank the water. I thank the water for what it just did. It just cleaned me. Thank you. And I apologize if I have done anything to harm the water. And also, I was thinking a lot about the way we have plumbing in the toilets system and peeing and pooing in water and all of that and going into sewers. And I find that it's very disrespectful what we're doing to water. Pretty much everything we're doing in this realm right now is all about disrespect. I think we're doing everything wrong, maybe so that we can get it right at some point again. But the way we treat water is within all of our control. So we can actually make some effective changes right there. And if you go to Beta Austin's webpage, you can see the work she's done on water and how intelligent it is, that you can show it a picture of something and it will display its own art of the picture in which you have shown it. And that means there's a response, and that's very powerful. Okay, let me go through now. There's a lot of comments, and I'm really glad you're here with me. And thank you for sharing time with me today. Okay, let me show this one. It's a biggie. Hi, Amanda. I love your work. I was a nurse in Scotland, and I got sacked after speaking out in November 2020, and my registration suspended. I am now working in a chiropractor's office, I'm guessing, but miss caring and helping people. Yes. I feel lost at where to go from here, but your courses sound like a good start. Will they be available to everyone? And do you ship DMSO to UK? Thank you. Yeah, this is a common story. And remember, rejection is protection. You know that. You have to know that. Rejection is always trying to protect you from something. So when you think it didn't work out, you know, just thank that situation. Just shift the way you think about it. Like, oh, whew, dodged a bullet there. Woo! You know, that kind of thinking, rather than, oh, I lost something, you know. And I'm sure you can see that now in 2022 that you dodged a bullet by being sacked, right? You were, as much as it hurt at the time, obviously. Yes, we ship to the UK. Some parts of the UK are really warped. Depending on the customs agent, depending on the bully at the border, they might, I have sometimes things get confiscated. You know, the customs border people are so disgusting that sometimes they'll just open the package and just rip stuff apart and send it like that. That's how, like, that's sick. Why would you do that? Why would you need to do that? Do you have so much hate inside of you that you want to destroy someone's ability to get well by using the products that are in that box? It's really demented to sabotage someone like that, and that's really nasty ass karma for them. By the way, nasty to do something like that. Yeah, Spain pretty much. I think we had to take Spain and Finland were the two we just can't ship to. They are so New World Order tight now. They're that pretty much nothing good or pure can get in. Same with China, by the way. I wonder what they have in common. China, can't really ship a lot of stuff to China. They will go through your stuff. They will steal your stuff. They will break your shit, and you get whatever they deem that day to be allowed. That's communism, totalitarianism, and that's what they want for all of us. Surveillance everywhere. Nothing, you can't get things anymore, and that's just, you know what? Not on my watch. No thanks. But the maniacs who think somehow that's okay, that it's okay to do that to people, there's more maniacs right now, and they're going to just, they're in poverty consciousness, so they will appeal to a false authority to get their bread and butter, but they've lost something fundamental inside of them, you see, that will have serious repercussions later. And they just don't know it yet, unfortunately. And you can't really save them from themselves if they want to stay stuck in their spiral, right? So yes, the courses, we have the first one that we're just trialing right now. There's a lot of moving parts here because we're not just launching courses, we're launching a whole social media platform with groups and interaction. So there's a lot there. Okay. And not only that, we're launching our own currency and our own shopping club system and our own sovereignty system so that you can get out of the corporation. You can pull yourself out of the corporation and operate outside of it. And that's what so it's big what we're doing. It's coming along. The first course I have to review and edit. And then the next two will go. And once the first three are set, then it launches and we begin. Okay. So it's soon-ish. I think, I can't remember our last projected goal when I look on the calendar, but I believe we were going to do it for the new year, like launch for the new year. It's okay to feel lost. Accept that you're lost right now. That's where you are. Remember I said before in a couple of different videos, or maybe you didn't see it, but sometimes you get unplugged and you're not supposed to know right now. And then you get plugged back in and right? You'll get these periods where and it all starts to make sense, right? And then you get unplugged again and you feel lost. You don't know. The problem is when you feel lost, we react. I feel lost. I don't like it. I don't like the sensation. I got to feel it. This. That's what you don't want to do. You want to go, I'm lost right now. Cool. That's interesting. I don't know right now. Cool. It's cool not knowing. It's okay to know and it's okay to not know right now. But I will know. The sooner I go into allowing and surrendering, then I'll know. Surrender the fact you don't know. You don't like working at the chiropractor's office, but are you resisting when you go in? Are you expending energy resisting the situation? Or are you looking for openings and opportunities there? There's a lot of nurses that have collaborated and created their own networks and their own clinics, essentially, that are outside the licensing body, which you don't want to be. It's good to not be registered and licensed. You don't want to be licensed and registered. That means they can tell you what to do because you have contracted with the corporation. You don't want any contracts with the corporation. Okay. It's not of benefit to be licensed. Trust me. Okay. Everything that they do is an offer to contract, and you have every right to say, no, I do not wish to contract with you, especially when they are insane and they're only causing you harm and they're robbing you with taxes, to give to the insane debt that continues to ever increase. They don't do it for your roads. Trust me. They collect it to try to pay the central banking cartel. It's a mob run corporate bankrupt structure that's crumbling. And you don't want to be underneath that when it falls. So the best thing to do is to find other nurses that have a similar fate and to collaborate with them and to create your own business structure and then help people that way and do all the things that you want to do. You just need to understand a little bit of law, have a fee schedule and structure in place in case they try to intimidate you, tell you that you owe them something or have to do something, so you can nicely tell them to go fuck themselves with paperwork. And that takes bravery. So you dump the fear and you take the courage and you get creative and you will be happy because you'll be able to do your nursing. Okay, so or find other nurses that have already made the structure and get involved with them. And if you go to my Telegram page and ask, there's at least in Canada here, there's a group of nurses that have done just that. So if you need to talk with them, I'm sure they would be more than willing. All right. Charging for your expertise is 100% valid and folks shouldn't expect it for free. Yes. It's like a hairdresser being expected to cut all their family and friends' hair for free, yet they don't get something in return for their time, like their washing done or a meal made for them. Right. It's like the consideration for others has dwindled away because, like I said, because they put us in a state of frenetic survivalism and nervous system destabilization, where we're always feeling some sort of underlying stress. And we don't even know what the stress is, and we don't even know what we're worried about. We're just constantly stressed and constantly worried, and we don't even know why half the time. And it's because your adrenal glands are pretty burnt out. And if you're not taking a B multi every day, if you have any type of that level of stress, you better be taking a B multi every day. Take it in the morning when you have a smoothie or food or whatever you ingest, because it will make all the difference to where your anxiety levels are throughout the day. Just that one change. That and, I'm going to say magnesium. You know it. I'm going to say magnesium. I was going to say magnesium. That's a given. And these throw in some extra vitamin C or make sure you're eating enough fruit. Those are going to support your adrenals and your stress levels. So make sure you got your ducks in a row for those sorts of things if you're in that level of stress. But the consideration of others' part doesn't come if you're in that survival mode. So I understand it. But we're trying to raise consciousness here too. If we see that, we must try to gently address it. Hey, I know where you are right now. I totally feel for you. I have compassion for you. I want to help you. But you also have to realize that I'm giving of you and you're not offering anything in return. You just did that. And I want you to know that you did that, right? Like I have people saying, I have, or by proxy, the proxy cases are even more difficult because I'm not even talking, it's not even a direct request. It's an indirect request. That can go sour quick because that person may not really want that healing or doesn't even know what's happening with the request. And someone's asking by proxy, oh, can you help my dad? Can you help my mom? Can you help my son? Can you help the son thing I get, the children I get, but still young children, older children, they can ask themselves, but that proxy situation can also be a waste of time because that means the person is reacting because their family member or their loved one is unwell and they want to fix it. They're going in as the empath, as the fixer, right? As a scapegoated child. They maybe grew up as a scapegoated child and they want to help, they want to fix, they want to repair. They don't want it anymore. They don't like it. They don't like that their loved one is suffering. Obviously, they want to do good by them, which is a great thing. But if they're coming at it from, I'm reacting to the fact that my loved one is hurt and I have to fix it, that's going to make a mess. And I've had people creating like, here, I'm going to create this chat room where we can all talk together. And I'm like, well, that's nice. Thank you for doing that. Okay. Or it's when someone sends you a message on Telegram, a bot or something, they go, hi. I'm like, there was a funny meme. I think, did I grab it? thank God for memes. We're surviving because of memes. It was saying something like, oh hey, hi, how are you? Oh my gosh, someone said hi. How are you doing? Oh, thank God you said hi to me. Oh, so are we gonna like date real quick and like then get married, or what's happening next? Like, tell me what's happening next. You know, people say hi. Oh my God, like the fact that a bot or anything even does that is just ridiculous. So people respond to that, really? Ever? They're to have a success rate of this? Okay, weird. Oh gosh. Okay, let me go down questions. Hey, Holly's there. Hi, Holly. Okay, there's a link. Say again. When I was a personal trainer, people always expected advice as soon as they knew. I stopped telling people after a while. You see that? Oh God, you have this, you know how not fun it is going to social gatherings? Not fun. People know what I do. I can't hide that shit. They know already. It's too late. It's out. Like, oh, Amanda Vollmer's here. Oh, hey, I have this carbuncle. What do I do for a carbuncle? Just quickly, it's like, oh, wow, take off your shoe. Let me have a look. I mean, yeah. The thing is, my real friends, they feel bad when they ask me for help. But the ironic part is that's where I'm like, you freaking tell me, loved ones, when you're sick. That's ridiculous, right? But that's your true friends. They know already. They know, they see you. They know how overworked you are, and they don't want to burden you further. Those are your friends and your loved ones, right? But those are the ones that I want, you will want to help naturally. You don't want anything in return for that. You just want them well because you love them, right? So that's, oh yeah. Yes, hoarding is about fear of loss. And if you want to clear a lot of that, by the way, thanks for reminding me, because I wanted to say this earlier. One of the things that I did is I went through my stuff and I went, why do I have all this stuff? What's it for? Every piece of the thing that is in my space is holding an energy. And when I release that, I am liberating energy and I am opening space. And I'm inviting then for it to be filled with something, right? If you have no space for more to come in, then it's not coming in. And the giving away of, I really think the tithing idea is very smart, because when you have some abundance come, that's a beautiful thing. And there's a joy in sharing that abundance, or at least a percentage of it. And that should be part of the thinking around money, is always when you have something come in abundance and you are, you have so much, then you make sure that naturally there's part of that that's given. That's an ebb and flow that prevents stagnation and ensures that the abundance continues. It's like it's a rule of abundance. And so if you have crap sitting in your closet or your garage or wherever that's just sitting there, that's not taken care of or not honored even, or not like respected, or like you're using it, then why do you have it just occupying space? What I do is I think, like, I get, when you have a child, the clothes, right? The clothes, the shoes, the stuff, they grow out of it. And I'm always thinking of whom would that benefit the most, and where could this go to those people? It's not just throwing it to a clothes charity. There's more. I think of it a little more consciously than that. Yeah, I do. I'm trying. Well, gosh, it's been so many years. I'm trying to think of the name of the freaking book. Actually, I did a course with a gentleman who just did his own thing. He's a really cool guy. Actually, God, that was a million years ago. Good Lord. And we went to his place, and he had paperwork, and then we filled everything out about our beliefs about money, and it was a whole guided thing. I'll think about it. Okay. I'll try to remember those resources, or it's on my mind, but go search too. Like, you have a question, right? You're like, oh, I'm interested in that. I like that idea. What do you, so the thing to do next is to go, let me type that in. and let's see what comes up. Let's see what I find. And then what you're going to practice is trusting yourself that that's the right thing, right? People do that all the time. Like, that feels right. I'm doing that. And then look and see, like, oh, this one, this money thing, whatever. Let's check that out. Do I like that? Does it look scammy? Does it look weird? Do I not like the symbols? Then, maybe not. Okay, this one looks genuine. There's a lot of good feedback from actual people who have done the course that may or may not be purchased. Meaning, I think a lot of these reviews can be bought. Sometimes I wonder. Anyway, there's some cool stuff, but hey, you can go out and search too, right? I put a gratitude blank paper every month and fill it. That's a good one. Gratitude, good. Gratitude is vital. It is because what happens is we see the problems. There's always going to be problems. Newsflash, always going to be problems. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be problems, right? That's just life. That's what we're here to do, is deal with this, right? So the problems are challenges, and the challenge can be taken, in all kinds of ways. And when you're looking at it, you're going to get a complaint. You're going to feel a complaint energy. I don't like that because blah, 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 blah. That's not right, or whatever the thing is. Fine. Go through the complaint process. I did that. I complained. I don't like that thing. So now what am I going to do about it? Well, I definitely want to make a change. I know that in that thing, I do want changes. Continuing to complain on it is a disease, right? The complaint should be one time, maybe two. And then you know that it's something you have to address. But the energy to address it is coming from one of gratitude. And that's the most successful outcome, because what you do is you say, I look at these wonderful things that I'm presented with now. I'm presented with a lesson. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm going to learn something through this process. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm able to even think about this process. That I have my faculties about me to have the cognition to the level that I can contemplate what I need to do to solve my own problems, right? That's one piece of gratitude. And if you keep feeding the gratitude, the gratitude train, it keeps rolling for you. Yes, I like human design system as well. Very powerful. Pam Gregory. I think I know her. I think I know who you mean. Okay, let's go. Yeah. Pardon me as I read. Okay, I think I answered the course's question. So, no, I'm not booking yet anything like that. That's the old model of the way I was doing things, which was fine because I was practicing, meaning, this is 20 years of my life. Obviously, I had to go through a lot of patients, a lot of clients, and learn. I did all of that for a long time. And now I realize that the modeling, the way in which it's changing, and that I have to adapt with that, and I have to learn what that's about. And that's what I'm doing. Oh, yes, that is coming up. The Mount Meru event is coming up. Thanks for reminding me. I was thinking, if you go to my Patreon account, I'm not going to pull it up now, but I actually did a post on my Patreon asking people what they wanted me to present at the Mount Meru Summit. Maybe I'll post that on Telegram and you can give me an idea. I have some ideas. I have 2 ideas. But I don't want to steer your mind. So we can do that kind of like a poll. What kind of ideas you would like me to focus on? I'm reading up on medical astrology. Very interesting, yes. Cool. Yes, we're true to form with the hair. But my moon is in Pisces. I'm a more toned down version of the Leo expression. So actually the entire chart is really important to how the presentation of the sun sign, because the inside is not the outside. The presentation is the sun. The moon is the covert, as the emotional, how the individual is on the inside. Okay, another course question, answered that. My mother blesses the water she uses to garden, and she claims that in 30 days with and 30 days without her blessings, they grew significantly faster when blessed. Ooh, she's a scientist. There you go. That's some science right there. Well done. And also look into electroculture. You can really just take a copper, either a coil or a copper pipe, and there's a way to implant it into the ground and add more resonance into the plants for larger plant growth. As well, you know what helps growth of plants? Carbon dioxide. But it's bad, right? Yeah, okay. Sure. How do you use a tuning fork on your water or products? Yes, we tune our products. I have a 432 tuning fork. It's not difficult. You can sing over when you make food or make something. The air will vibrate, the water in the air will vibrate and will translate into the item. I don't have my tuning forks are back there, but I will ping the tuning fork and I will hover it over the bowl of the contents, or once they've been poured, I'll do the whole spread. So I've done it both ways. It seems to be the same result. And I also will touch the bottom. So it's better to do it in the bowl because then you don't have to touch every single one. But you touch the base, the bottom of the tuning fork, then onto the bowl to make sure it all resonates through the product or the water or the whatever. Excuse me. What did you say? I interviewed to be George Soros's executive assistant 15 years ago. I was mad I didn't get the job at the time. Perfect example. Be careful what you wish for. Oh my gosh, did you ever dodge a bullet there? Right in the demon's lair. Whew, my goodness, that's amazing. Love Veda Austin, got the amazing opportunity to work with her years ago. She's incredible, absolutely worth a look at her work. Yes, The Secret Intelligence of Water. Thank you. It's mind-blowing, really. The work she's done, the science she's done science, and yeah, it's really important. I mean, we already were primed with Emoto's knowledge. We knew that there was something going on way back. Well, I did way back when I met Dr. Emoto. But now we've come so far with the fourth phase of water and Pollack's work and understanding that we are the living water and that's what determines our health. And it's amazing. Okay. Oh, the bufferometer. Good to see you as well. Okay, yes. I eventually will address this in a little more detail, although others have. Magnesium threonate if you're trying to do more work with the nervous system tissue of the brain and spinal cord. The citrates or any of the ones that have the TCA cycle add-ons to them, they say they're more readily absorbable by the body. They all will help usually with sleep. So they all have different aspects of where they like to go and be used first, whether it's the muscles, whether it's for sleep, whether it's for brain, like all these kinds of things. And then, but whatever you take internally, additionally get topical. Use either the spray. I make one called Zen. It's on both DMSO store and yumnaturals.store. make one with DMSO if you want more absorption and DMSO benefits, and Epsom salt baths, other ways to get the magnesium levels up. My last newsletter that just dropped today from dmso.store talks a lot about priming the body for detox, because what's going to come next is heavy metal detox protocol that I've been working on. But you can prime yourself to prepare for a successful detox. You don't have to dive in. And so in that newsletter, if you want to subscribe, you can do so at dmso.store. I talk about the 3 products that help you prime yourself or ready yourself to have a successful detox without feeling really crappy. And magnesium is key for that. And to get enough, it has to be both internal and topical approaches, and quite liberally topical. Because the problem, obviously, with internal magnesium, if you take high doses, is you're going to be on the toiletto. You're going to be pooping in the water a lot. Oh, yeah. Well, books. I think what's going to happen with books. Look, I'm not the type of being to push things into existence. I'm not interested in pushing my will on this world. I am interested in being directed by the divine creator to do whatever the divine creator wants me to do. And that's all up to divine timing. That's not my business. And so I just listen to what that is. And I know I feel ahead of time, being precog, I see ahead and I know what's coming. I know all these books are coming. But if you could get in my mind right now and see the splay of tasks before me, you would understand that it's a process to build books from content. And the content, it comes when I'm called to do that particular topic. I happen to be called to do the particular topic of geoengineering, even though I have all this other stuff to do. But that was what got put in front. That's what I have to do. And that's what I have to listen to do, no matter whatever else is happening, right? Or what I think I'm supposed to do, or that ego idea has to go. I've trained myself to know what that sounds like and how to follow it. Astrology books. Whoo. Man, that's a good one. I'll think about that too. I have so many astrology books. I have some funny ass astrology books from the 70s. One's called Sexual Astrology. It's so funny. It's like, because remember, back in the 70s, it was a thing. It became a thing, right? What's your sign, baby? That was a thing in the 70s. So this book that was written in the 70s that I have called Sexual, is that one Sexual Astrology? No, there's another one. It's along those lines. Basically, it's like a hookup book. Hey, you want to pick up a Libra? Here's how you do it. Here's what sex is going to be like with the Libra. Here's what pre and post coitus is going to be for Libra in this book. So funny. And probably also very accurate. Okay. Now I do have, if you have fibroids, I have a video on yummy.doctor called, if you just look up progesterone or happy hormones, it's called Happy Hormones. And even actually my book on fibrocystic breasts go into fibroids a little, because they're all it's kind of the same syndrome or setup of an issue, which is low progesterone, high xenoestrogens generally. So I most of the time will see a history of birth control pills being used. One of the most dangerous and destructive drugs ever created. What a disgusting. It's on the level of quaxines and antibiotics as far as harm. And it doesn't go out of your body without you going after it. I can't tell you the endless cases of women with menstrual dysregularities of all sort, with, fibroids, breast tenderness, breast lumps, thyroid issues, weight gain problems, metabolic syndrome, diabetes, And it's all because their progesterone is tanked right out the bottom. Their estrogen, their bad estrogens, which are false estrogens, are running high, and it creates all kinds of chaos in the body. And it's just all the same protocol pretty much for the from that video I mentioned. Now, one thing to do right away is stop wearing polyester. Y'all gotta stop wearing polyester. Do you not know, have you noticed that most of the clothing stores now that you go into, especially the low end ones, they're all blends, cotton with poly, poly with viscose, poly with whatever. It's literally xenoestrogen plastic, and it rubs on your skin, and your skin is a two-way street, as I've mentioned like 1,000 times. And you will imagine, just from what it tells the waters in your body, just now go there. Now you have that new knowledge. Think about all the things in your life that affect your water. Wearing a shit frequency like polyester on your body, what it does to you on multiple levels. Just no, it's garbage. Makes microplastics when you wash it, when you put it in the washer and dryer. If you want to do one single thing, is invest in good long thread cotton clothing, organic. Buy a wardrobe set and throw the rest of the shit out. You pretty much wear the same things over and over again most of the day too, except for special occasions, right? So get yourself an admixture of and what I mean is the fibers of the cotton must be long. So they must be a high quality fiber. The short fibers will pill and look like shit after a year or two. Good solid cotton clothing will never pill like that, or it'll take 20 years to start to really go away. So you want to change your hormones, you got to stop wearing polyester. Okay, I think we're here. And then Holly. Hi, Holly. Did you just say that while I was talking? Maybe you did. I actually been purchasing my clothing from an online company called Pact, P-A-C-T. And there are organic, sustainable, smart, they're probably all climate changey. You can't get away from the woke disease. The real contagion is this wokeism shit. Whew, that is, whatever that disease is nasty. Hope there's a cure for it. So aside from that, they are, an environmentally aware company, which is good. They don't use a lot of plastics even in their shipping. They use a paper coating for their clothing now. And I find, for me, because I have a very slim waist, which I have slim waist and I have hips because I'm a female, but I have an extra slim waist. I always did, which always was annoying for me because no one's pants fit me. I always have I have to wear a belt to cinch the waist, or I would have to try to get like hip waders kind of pants. But what I really like about Pact is their medium size fits me. It fits my waist and my hips because it's a little stretchy, so I don't have to wear belts, which I don't like. And it fits my shape. My daughter has the same problem. She has the same shape as me with the slim waist and the hips, right? So she's like, why does this fit? Or why do I, she's always got the loop at the back of the pants where you can put your hand right down the pants because you're buying for the hip. So anyway, yeah, so Pact is where I get a lot of the clothing. There's another couple companies I've sourced here in Canada that I like. I also like a lot of linen. Linen has a high frequency that must not be worn with wool because wool will negate it. So in the summertime, I wear a lot of linen as well, which is a little more of an investment, but it has a very high frequency to it. And I find I really like how it feels, and also it gets softer over time as you wash it. My preferred clothing shopping is secondhand old school fabrics. That's great. I have a hard time with used stuff because I'm so sensitive. I can feel the energy of the clothing. So if someone else has worn it, I actually take on some of their personality traits, believe it or not. So I can put on a piece of clothing and I can tune in and I can tell the person who wore it. I can tell what they were like. And so I don't like to do that because it feels like not me. And there's ways to cleanse it and purify it of the energies. So if you know how to do that, then that's a good option for you. Or if you're not sensitive to it, it doesn't bother you, then it's not a big deal, I guess. But notice if you put it on and you have different emotional states and stuff. But if you can find really nice cotton or silk or wool or linen, even rayon is really considered natural, like a bamboo viscose that's done right. There's options here. Then go for it. Or some of the stuff you're going to find in the used clothing stores aren't even used. They still might have the tags on them. I used to get all my bloomers from that. The pants I'm wearing now are flare, and they actually have, I don't know if you can see that, but they actually have like a snap, and they'll flare as well. I have a couple pairs of these where you can go all the way with the bottoms and the flare bottoms, the bell bottoms with these pants. It's really funny. But it feels, for me, I want to feel comfortable and not look schlumpy, because if I look schlumpy, I don't feel nice. It's like a catch-22 there. Okay, so we're going to wrap it up now. And, oh, this is interesting. I was just testing for an imbalanced organ, and toxic plastics came up as an underlying cause. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? And this is us at this size. Imagine what we're doing to wildlife and plant and animal life and bug life. And can you imagine their accumulations? It's one of my concerns, and why also the geoengineering grinds my gears, because we're not the only ones suffering from chem flu and all the accumulations of metals. Can you imagine the smaller bodies, what's happening to them? It's disgusting. Okay, I think we're there. Well, I'm glad we did this. I'm glad I was debating, and then I went outside because I wasn't sure. So when you're not sure, right, you have a decision, you don't know the answer, then you need a new input to make the decision. Maybe more than one input. I go to nature. Nature helps me with my input. I'll go out, I'll look at the moon. It's been gorgeous right now. I'll go talk to my favorite trees, or just go walk around outside, breathe deeply, and just calm myself down. And again, surrender, letting go of thinking I have to have the answer right now, because if you do, if you're like, I have to, that's a red flag that your ego's on the stage and you have to back off. And you surrender, you cut the cord, you let it go, and you go, I know that you have the answer for me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to release and surrender and let go and open up to allow the correct answer to come my way, because I have faith that this place wants me to win, meaning wants me to succeed in what I'm here to succeed in. I'm not being set up to fail. That's a victimhood mentality. And I abandon the victimhood thinking. That is not who we are. And then usually the answer will come. Or if, again, you're not sure, sleep on it. Don't rush to make a decision, unless it's life or death. That's different. But you know what I'm saying? Wait. We don't wait enough. In fact, on my fridge forever, I had the 2 words, and I recommend this for you. This helped me a lot. Just 2 words. I wrote wait And underneath that, I wrote accept. Wait, accept. I am not reacting. I am waiting for what to do. I'm listening and waiting and watching, and I'm there. And I'm accepting the fact that this is what's happening right now. I accept. This is the here and now. This is the thing that's happening right now. And it's gotten me through a lot of really difficult, uncomfortable situations where I don't like it. When there's lots of things we're not going to like. I don't like the thing. I don't like the feeling. I don't like the sensation. I don't like what's happening. Okay. Wait, accept. Wait, accept. You will be shown the way. You'll be shown the direction. That's your faith. And the more you feed that, the more it will be so, and the more you'll be able to free yourself from all the burdens and excess schloss that we keep putting on ourselves for what? For no reason, ultimately. I think I hear a cat, one of my cats. Okay, well, we did good. We did well. Glad we did it. And yes, let's end on this. Be still. Be still and know, right? Don't let them take away your peace. That is within your purview. That's none of their business to take. And if you know what you have to stand up for, then you do it, and you don't let anything stop what you're doing. You are here. Oh, sorry, buddy. Got a call. He's going to laugh at that later. That's my cue, obviously. But anyway, that's my point. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you do really well. Substack, dmso.store, yumnaturals.store, healingwithdmso.com, yummy.doctor, Telegram channel, yada, yada. And we'll see you on the flip side. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your conscious awareness, and have a great night. We'll talk again soon. Bye for now.